of April 4th, 2022 at 7 p.m. Would you please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all. All right, it seems we're coming down for some great special presentations lately. Councilmember Hefty, would you like to join me? So if we could have the representative from Kidstown. So I think we've got Jim Meter, Nicole Gutherless, and Holly Wilson. What happened to Jim?
It's Jeff.
Oh, it's
Jeff. He's based out of Kentucky.
Why wouldn't I get
So
that?
he's on vacation.
Okay,
It's
all right.
like kids.
Awesome. Awesome. And you're from Kidstown, so why don't you tell us a little bit about what you do at Kidstown?
At Kidstown, we provide a drop-in service. So instead of signing up for weekly or monthly rates, we're able to provide part-time care for our families. So we charge them at 2-minute increments, so they only pay for the exact time that they use. But we're still licensed by the state of Colorado, so we follow all the strict rules and regulations that our child care follow.
That's awesome. So one of the reasons that Kidstown came to our attention and to Councilmember Hefta's attention was during COVID. Who were some of your biggest customers? It was our first responders, it was our nurses, it was our teachers that were trying to teach Zoom to our kids at home and have somebody else take care of their kids. So let me read what, and it's Jeff Meter, right?
Correct.
Okay. So Jeff Meter, Nicole Gutherless, and Holly Wilson, and the entire staff at Kidstown, Parker, Colorado, are recognized for their outstanding service to Parker residents. Your professionalism, kindness, and caring staff have provided the highest quality of child care service to parents and caregivers. As a Colorado business, your dedication will greatly enhance our community, and your service is exceptionally meritorious. Councilmember Hefty, would you like to say a few words?
I would. In addition to the outstanding care that the Kidstown here provides, I just want to mention the legacy of Deborah Lee Meador. Deborah Lee Meador was the original owner with her husband Jeff Meador of Kidstown, Parker, back in 1999. Deborah, in 1999, challenged the Colorado state legislature because at that time they did not allow drop-in child care corporations to exist. So you would either have to take your child to someone's home or you'd have to sign a long-term contract to be able to get care for your child on a drop-in basis or a quarterly basis. Deborah Lee Meador successfully challenged the Colorado state legislature in 1999, and then she founded Kidstown in 1999. There's 3 locations for Kidstown, in which Holly is the executive director, Aurora, Highlands Ranch, and Parker. And Deborah Lee Meador is survived by her husband Jeff Meador and 3 daughters. And so today is truly not only about Kidstown, but about Deborah Lee Meador's legacy, a lasting legacy to the parents and caregivers in the state of Colorado. And I couldn't be happier here to honor Kidstown and their executive director and their wonderful manager, Nicole, today. Thank you so much.
I love that story. And you know, in Parker, we love people who push back on the state. You know we like that, right? All right. So here is a certificate of recognition awarded to Kidstown Parker for your dedication in providing outstanding service to the residents of Parker, signed April 4th, 2022. Congratulations. So we're going to get some pictures real fast with you guys.
Sounds good.
So hopefully Aurora's watching so you can see what we're doing. So try to true.
Trying. We're all trying.
Try to go between the flags.
This is Chris. Thank you guys again, and thank you.
One more in the back, hold on. Do you want to take one?
Oh,
You were trying to take one over your shoulder?
Sorry.
you can come on down if you want.
You can come up.
Get closer.
Just got makeup on.
Pose it.
You're a leader. You're a tiger.
All right, so next up we have a representative from the 18th Judicial District here, Madison Lingle. Come on down, and everyone knows Aurora Hall. Good to see you again, Aurora. So next, let's see, the 20th, I can't do anything with my glasses on. The 24th through the 30th is going to be Victims' Rights Week.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit what that means to the 18th Judicial Circuit and what it means to Colorado and Brooklyn.
Okay. So it's National Crime Victims' Rights Week, and that's known nationally. It's not just for our state, it's not just for a judicial district, but it's just a way to honor victims, what they've been through, how far we've come, the new laws and legislations we make for them. And it's just all to really support victims of crime. And so we are doing this award ceremony for the 18th Judicial District, and we just want to really honor victims, the work that people do to support victims and help them. And then we'll move in, we're calling it our kickoff event, but then we'll move into the last week of the month, really honoring victims of crime.
That's awesome. So let me read a couple of our whereases here. Whereas the town of Parkview values the importance of helping crime survivors find their justice by enforcing victims' rights, expanding access to services, and ensuring equity and inclusion for all. And whereas National Crime Victims' Rights Week is a time to celebrate the progress achieved, raise awareness of victims' rights and services, and stand with our families, neighbors, friends, and colleagues by honoring the experiences of victims and allowing them to find autonomy and empowerment. And whereas we commit to better supporting victims by earning and building their trust and by engaging our communities in the response, now therefore I, Jeff Toberg, Mayor of the Town of Parker, do hereby proclaim April 24th through the 30th, 2022 as National Crime Victims' Rights Week. Congratulations. And as you can all see, we have the crime fighters in the back room. Guys are going in here. I don't know where the chief snuck off to, but. All right, so let's get a picture on this one. We're on to business.
Of course, thank you. Appreciate having me 18th here.
One more. This is going in our newsletter. I'm going to
Do you want to show the deputy chief down
I would
here?
love to.
All right, chief and deputy chief,
Do it.
come on down.
Come
Officer Holdrew, come down here too.
That's right.
So,
Everybody's supporting the victims, right?
so the chief did say, "You're not bringing me down." No, I never.
You threw you under the bus. Straight over it.
Drove over like 3 times.
Okay, ready. 2 pictures. Ready? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Thank you. Thank you very
Chris,
much.
did you? Okay, ready?
Pretty good at that.
Take over shares here.
Where are we going here? Oh, I see. Like when it's not pushed in. Okay. Oh, I know.
Thanks, Aurora.
They should have made the distance behind us just a little wider.
Or made us smaller.
We could have a smaller desk. That would be easy to carve down.
Well, if these go down, I mean, then I can go under, but I'm not going to sit like
You're
this.
going with that?
Well, they're just hard to move.
All right, with that, we'll move on to public comment, item number 3. Public comment is an opportunity for town residents and other interested individuals to speak about items not on the agenda. The comment period is limited for 30 minutes at the front, and then we'll pick up at the end of the meeting if we go over that. Your maximum, have a 3-minute maximum of speaking, and then you've signed up. So there's 3 ways you can make public comment here. You can sign up, and we'll call you up to the podium. You can come up to the podium, state your name and address by Zoom, and as well as by an email to the town clerk's office by 5 o'clock on the day of the town council meeting. So let's start with Zoom. Chris, do we have anybody on Zoom?
There are none.
Okay, so we'll start in the room then. And Mr. Shekel. Did I get that close?
Yes.
All right. How are you, sir? If you will come down and state your name and address for the record, and then I'll give you your 3 minutes to start.
Yes, my name is Michael Shekel. I live at 12769 Ventana Street in Parker.
Go ahead.
I've lived, my family and I have lived in Parker for 14 of the last 17 years, and very much enjoyed it. I wanted to address kind of a micro issue tonight, but I wanted to kind of give a little bit of background on it as well. I'll try and stay within the 3 minutes. Basically, about 3 months ago, I approached the Parks and Recs Department to try and have a conversation with them regarding amending the leash law for use with electronic collars. It's proven technology. So I think I spoke to the head of the Parks Department, and to summarize the conversation, it was very unproductive. It was, the person didn't even want to engage in an actual discussion. I was hoping to enlist their opinion about it because they would be part of the enforcement, part of the crafting of it, et cetera. So anyway, that was about 3-4 months ago. The issue came up with a staff report. Surprise, surprise, they recommended not to amend the leash law to include electronic collars. I reviewed their report, and the facts that they presented in the report, and there are a lot of the facts. Number one being that every police department that they spoke with, every police department that I've spoken with, uses an electronic collar when they have canines. It's a proven technology. Some of the sweeping generalizations and speculative conclusions that the report came back with were disappointing, to say the least. And I guess on a micro issue, it's not a huge deal. It was, on a personal level, a little bit concerning to kind of see this, what I would characterize as a no-can-do type of attitude. Previously, I ran into that with the staff of Parker 10-ish years ago when I worked for a major retailer, and we were trying to build a grocery store on the east side of Parker at Pine Lane in Maine. And one of the things that contributed to the death of that project was a no-can-do type of attitude. So it was very frustrating, fast-forwarding 10 years later, to see some of that same attitude prevailing. One of the other things that the staff report mentioned was dog issues have gone up as far as attacks by whatever the percentage is, but significantly from 11 incidents, for example, to 30. It would seem to me that that would be another fact that would play into, let's find a solution, maybe amend the existing situation to try and make it better. I'm not saying doing away with the leash law. All I'm saying is it's proven technology, and I would appreciate it if the subject would be picked up for further comment, further investigation, council vote, agenda item, whatever is possible.
Thanks, Mr. Shekel. Appreciate it. Anyone else in the room wishing to make public comment? Seeing none, we'll move on to the next item, and that is reports and items from council and mayor.
Mr. Mayor, I see a phone, somebody left, and I wonder if somebody from the
I think
18th.
that's mine.
Oh, it's yours, oh, okay.
Keep
Never
an
mind
eye on
then.
that. Yeah, whoever takes it has to answer it, so good luck. Good luck with that. All right, so reports, items, and comments from mayor and council. I'll start to my left, Councilmember Hefta.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, about 2 weeks ago, many of us on the town council did a facilities tour through Mostenbacher and Old Town Hall. And during this tour, we learned about some of the necessary upgrades that are needed for some of these town buildings and town structures. In addition, on about a week ago, we had there was a Parker Chamber happy hour in which the Parker Chamber of Commerce came and the town council members came. And I got a chance to talk to T.J. Sullivan, the director of the Parker Chamber of Commerce. And also, I'd just like to mention that there were many religious conferences over this past weekend and continuing on this month as well in the local area, and I've attended several of those, so it was a very good week. Thank you.
Councilmember Barrington.
Thank you. So, yeah, we all toured the facilities, and I think that was very educational for all of us, that we are definitely growing and outgrowing some of our facilities. And we had a board meeting with the Douglas County Housing Partnership where we approved, or the budget was approved. I think we all made it to the Chamber happy hour. So that was fun. Thanks, Chamber. We enjoyed it. And I had a meeting with Councilmember Pogue and some staff for the Greater Parker Foundation, and we're hoping to get moving forward with that. Thanks, Carrie.
Councilmember Dyak.
Thank you very much. On the 23rd of March, we had a partnership at Douglas County meeting along with the mayor and Councilmember Rivero. We were in attendance as the mayor of Louisville and town manager presented on wildfire mitigation, on the challenges and stresses that they went through while the Marshall Fire happened, and things to potentially learn after the fact. A bunch of us attended the big picture, which is the town manager and departments rolling out certain things to engage the staff here at Parker. I talked about the facilities master plan, our upcoming budget, and a compensation study. I also attended this Saturday a Dr. Cog workshop. We talked about a 5-year strategic plan. We talked about an economic development district. Bo, that one's for you, as well as some health and aging initiatives and the emerging housing crisis along the region. That is all, Mayor.
Councilmember Hendricks.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. No updates.
All right. Councilmember Pogue.
Yeah, I've got a couple of things. One, I'd like to thank Carrie Glassburn and Sarah Kroll for their information that they shared with us this past week. It was important to find out two things. One, they're well on their way to understanding the grant process. There's nothing that I need to do there. The other thing is the impediments they've faced and how we're going to solve those. And I think those are issues that we have to work on next. So thank you. And the other thing with the big picture, thank you to our town administrator, soon to be manager. I think it's great to share with the staff as a whole the things that's happening inside this building, inside offices with town council members, because they're not normally going to be at those meetings. So I think it's great to share that. Spread the wealth of knowledge. So thank you.
Councilmember Rivera.
Wait, I got one
Oh,
more.
sorry, but there's more.
I think some of us have been contacted by AP government students from Chaparral.
Mm-hmm.
And guess what? We have a student here tonight.
Oh.
Olivia. She's sitting right over there. But I think it's really wonderful that the teacher, I don't even know his name, has sent so many students out to figure out how local government works. That's an awesome thing to do, because most people don't even figure it out as an adult. So I think it's wonderful, so thank you.
Excellent. Welcome, Olivia. Welcome. Councilman Rivero.
Thank you. I welcome Olivia, and I second what Councilmember Pogue had to say. They teach you the federal, they teach you a little bit about state, but they don't teach you anything about your county or your towns, and that's where most of the good stuff happens. So I'm glad you're here. It was a busy week. We had the happy hour, we had the big picture, we had the facilities tour. I also got to tour with a different organization. I got to tour CASA, which is court-appointed special advocates. It's actually based right here in Parker. And it's over at the Solomon Building off of Jordan and, I can't remember the name of the road, Pine. Just a great organization. If there is a child in need without representation, an advocate will speak for that child. And they work with the courts, they work with services, they work with everybody to make sure that the child gets the best care and the best treatment they can. And I just think it's very special that CASA is now based here in Parker. And I think we really need to maybe have them come for a study, or even come here to present for a special presentation. But just a great organization and a hidden gem in our community. They are always, I'm not going to hit you up for dollars, but they're always looking for advocates. So if you do have the desire to help some kids and you're looking for some volunteer, please think about being a CASA advocate, and we'll have them in front of us so they can be a little bit more in depth than I, but just a great gem here in Parker. Thank you.
Great. Moving on to item number 5, consent agenda. Consent agenda items are considered to be routine and will be enacted by one motion and one vote. There'll be no separate discussion on consent agenda items unless council votes to remove an item from the agenda. Ordinances on the consent agenda are for first reading and will not be removed for discussion. So council, you have consent agenda items A through F.
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve consent agenda items A through F, please.
I second.
Motion was made by Councilman Rivero, seconded by Councilman Hendricks. Rivero?
Aye.
Pogue?
Aye.
Hendricks?
Yes.
Dyak?
Yes.
Barrington?
Yes.
Hefta?
Yes.
And that passes 6-0. All right, on to our public hearings for the night. Our first public hearing, which I will open up at 7:20 p.m., is on ordinance number 1.553.1 on second reading. This has been continued over from March 21st. It is a bill for an ordinance to adopt the 2022 revised budget for the town of Parker and to make appropriations for the same. And Jennifer Campbell and
It's the whole team.
gonna lead. Who else do we got?
I'm going to kick
There
it off.
she is. Mary Lou
There
Brown,
wasn't room for all
welcome.
of us there. Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Mayor and Council. Actually, the town administrator asked me to abscond with a couple of minutes from Jen. Most of you were at the all-employee big picture meeting this last week, but she asked that we share a little bit more information about the budget book, so we're going to do that tonight. I also want to take 10 more seconds and introduce you to a face that you may all want to ask questions of at some point. We have our new Chief Procurement Officer, Christy Hakela, is on board now, and she's been here about a month, so she's getting used to our ways. She comes to us from the federal government, so some good background for us. With that, I do want to introduce Kim Singdalson, and she's going to actually do the presentation. Jen is going to run the computer this time. But the two of them have been instrumental from the finance team in moving our budget book forward to being something more than just numbers and being something that actually shares a lot of information about the community, about the town, and about the numbers. So with that, I'm going to turn it over.
So the culmination of our last year's work on the budget book, ending with your approval of the budget, is our annual budget book. Every year we submit our budget book to the GFOA, the Government Finance Officers Association, for its consideration for a Distinguished Budget Award. Now, we've received the award 17 times, including every year since 2009. So we have all the fundamentals in place. We meet the guidelines for completeness and accuracy and transparency. But a new focus on the book is to draw people in, to make it more than just a book of numbers. There's still a lot of numbers, but the numbers simply support the town's business. So the town's story is also in the book. The book is available on parkeronline.org. You can see it in the finance department section or just search on budget. And it's available either in PDF or viewer. You can see it on the top line. We're going to go into the viewer, although the PDF works exactly the same way. So the viewer works like a book. So if you go forward one page, you'll see the first example of how we've made this more interactive. There are now town videos all the way through the book, and the first one is on the very first page to draw people in. If you click on that middle arrow, here's what people get. Okay, you've probably all seen it, but we've placed videos all the way through the book. One of the other goals this year was to make the book easier to navigate, because like it or not, there are 455 pages in the budget book. So this particular page gives you the main section of the book, and each title is linked to that section. So let's say you want to know more about the town revenue. You can go directly to the revenue manual. And in the revenue manual, we have another video, this one on the town sources of revenue. And then if you turn the page, you'll see another list of resources. Now, this doesn't look like a table of contents or anything, but throughout this book, anywhere it seems appropriate to click, or you might want to move around, we've added a link. So let's just say we're here and we want to know more about PACE facility rentals. You can click right there, and you get to PACE facility rentals. And it's going to show you the budget, it's going to show you the history, and it's going to show a little discussion about why the budget or the history has done what it's done. Now, the obvious way to navigate this book is the table of contents, and that's way back at the beginning. And if we go into the table of contents, we can go directly to what we need. So let's go into the introduction into the message from the town administrator. One of the other things we've done, and this is at the bottom of the first page, is everywhere there's a place where we can link to an external source. So if people are interested in what they're reading, in this case, she mentions the Pledge of Allegiance program. We've put a link directly to that. Also the community survey, Let's Talk Parker, the land development ordinance modernization. This is all the way through here, but it's an instant source for anybody reading the book to get to where they might want to know a little bit more about it. So if we go back to the table of contents, we're going to go into the budget detail section, and I think we'll flip to Public Works. This is the biggest section of the book, and here's a sample of what's in here. There is the budget along with the history. There are the budgeted full-time employees by title and history. Then on the next page, you'll see the budget variances or changes and our description of what did it. And once again, we've tucked in a few more relevant videos. These are particularly fun to watch. Then there are last year's accomplishments. On the next page, there are the goals for this year. And then on the following page, there are performance measures or how the department's going to be reviewed. So the budget detail is the largest section because it goes into this level of detail for every department, every fund. Okay, one more example. Let's go back to the table of contents. We're going to go into the capital budget section. And I think we'll go to the Parks and Rec section just to do something different. Here are some of examples. If we go forward from there, I just want to find a sample project. There we are. Okay, so here's a sample in the Lemon Gulch, something that was approved. We're going to work on the Lemon Gulch Trail. But instead of just discussing the Lemon Gulch Trail and giving some dollar amounts, we're going to talk about what strategic goals does it meet, how does it meet the town, and we've given a map. All the way through the capital budget, there are pictures, like if you don't know what an attenuator truck is, that's there. There are maps, there are more videos. So every project is listed here, and understand that very simplistically, capital projects are anything $5,000 or more. So there's a lot of information and a lot of projects in here. Anything people might want to know more about is in this section. Thanks, Jen. So the budget book is full of information. It's the story of the town and how the budget supports our goals. Yes, it's 455 pages with a lot of numbers because it is the budget, but this year we focused on making it usable and a go-to document. So we've put fun and informational videos throughout it. We've added internal links. We've added external links. Now, we're excited about the results, but we want to keep improving. So any feedback from you or our citizens, we'd love to hear more. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Kim. So now that we know where the budget is and how to use it, I'm going to talk about some changes that we are making to our 2022 budget. So we've already talked to you about what the purpose of supplemental expenditures are, what the purpose of carryovers are, and you've already seen an overview of the numbers in the study sessions. So I'm just going to go over some of the high-level numbers for the public's benefit here. So our total net revision is going to be $35.9 million. It's mostly in carryovers. Of that, $932,500 is in supplemental or additional appropriations. Of that amount, over $900,000 is for parks projects cost increases. So these are projects that have been fully budgeted in prior years. They've been working through them in the design phase. Now that we are moving forward to the next phases, we're realizing that the price of everything is unfortunately going up, and so also the cost of these projects is going up. So we've had to make a supplemental appropriation for those. Next, like I said, the vast majority is carryover projects from the prior year. That's going to be $34.9 million. Of that, $26.8 million, or 77%, is going to be the multi-year projects. So those are projects that are budgeted fully in year one, and then it gets carried through until the project is complete. Unfortunately, last year, we've all heard about supply chain issues, and those have affected some of our projects and some of our bigger capital purchases. So 3% of that number is going to be delays in our projects due to supply chain issues from last year. 19% is going to be for other reasons. That's $6.7 million. Of that, over $6 million is actually projects that we're doing with project partners that have been delayed for various reasons, or the development that's driving these projects is at a slower pace and it's not time for them to move forward. Of this amount, the vast majority of it is in 4 funds, so I'm just going to go over those 4. First, the general fund. Just over $1 million is for general fund carryover projects. Over half of that is going to be for multi-year projects, $551,000 there. And unfortunately, almost the other half, $353,446, is because of vendor and supply chain issues. The other amount was split between other delays and staffing turnover. In the Parks and Recreation Fund, we are carrying over $4.2 million. Of that, $4.16 is multi-year projects. Next, our biggest amount is in the Public Improvement Fund. It's like this every year because that's where our big multi-year projects are. And we're going to be carrying over $24.1 million. Of that, $21.5 million are multi-year projects. $2.4 million are going to be project delays, either due to the pace of development or things that we're working out with our project partners. And then the other small amount was split between staffing and vendor supply chain. Next, another big multi-year project fund is the Stormwater Fund. We're going to be carrying over $4.8 million. Of that, $4.2 is actually delays due to project partners or a developer funding the project in 2022 instead of 2021. And then the other $613,000 is multi-year projects. And the rest of the amount in the fleet services, cultural and recreation is just under $1 million, and that's for various reasons, but mostly vendor and supply chain issues. So with that, do you have any questions?
So let's start with questions on staff. Councilman Dyak, we'll start with you.
I have no questions. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay. Councilmember Barrington? No questions. Councilmember Hepta?
Yes, can you talk about the issue of a balanced budget? Thank you.
Sure. We are required by law to have a balanced budget, and we do every year. So what a balanced budget means for the town is that our annual expenditures there's enough either revenue coming in or cash in the fund balance to cover our expenditures for the year. So when we are carrying over the funds from the prior years, that's going to be fund balance that was appropriated from prior year revenues that has not been spent. Supplemental revenues either need to have available fund balance or additional revenue coming in to cover them. So we would not be asking for any additional expenditures without revenue to cover them.
And that is a legal requirement in the state of Colorado?
Yes, it is.
Thank you.
Councilmember Hendricks?
No question, thank you.
Councilmember Pogue?
Can I make a statement?
When we come back around
After your
for
question, I'll wait
comments.
for that.
Any questions, though?
No, no questions.
Councilman Rivero?
No questions. I appreciate you explaining the budget.
All right. So we will go ahead and move on to open this for public comment. Anybody in the room wishing to make public comment or on Zoom, if you can raise your hand.
There's not.
Nothing on Zoom. Anyone in the room? Seeing none, we'll close the public comment period and we'll bring it back to council for comments. And I know she has one, so I'm going to start with Councilmember Pogue.
First of all, I've been looking at budget books for 42 years. I have never seen one that I love like this one. And I know you have put tons and tons of extra time putting everything together over and above all the time it takes to do the numbers. But is this something you've seen before, or is this a new concept coming out of Parker?
Well, this might be a biased opinion, but I do think that we're pushing the envelope for making the budget very interactive. And I do know that when the GFOA is presenting trainings on budgets, we do regularly have sections of our budget shown as an example. So I would say that we're doing a pretty good job. And I mean, the GFOA is pushing all of the municipalities to move in this direction, but I know Kim especially has really put her heart and soul into making it happen.
You might be setting a new bar.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Councilmember Rivero.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I appreciate the budget. I think it's very important to get it out that 34 million is carryover and 900 is amendment. Thank you for stating that very clearly. Appreciate that. Secondly, the budget book. I saw it. I saw it in the big picture, and I leaned over to Michelle and I said, "Is this a consultant or is this in-house?" And she proudly said, "This is in-house." Wow, excellent. Jennifer, I mean, just absolutely, Kim, absolutely amazing. I was taken aback there. I think, I can't remember how many years ago, but what we kindly refer to as the Blondes, Lisa Frizzell and Diane Holbert, the treasurer and the assessor of the county at the time, presented at Partnership of Douglas County Government's open budget. And I said, and we said, we want that. And we did that, and we followed and copied, and we did open budget. This is that on steroids. This is absolutely beautiful. This is transparent. This is easy to follow. You could get lost in there. You don't even have to be a numbers fan, and you can get lost in here, and it's just amazing. I'm a visual guy. To be able to see where those monies are going on, i.e. Lemon Gulch or whatever, just absolutely well done. I hope, and I know the JFAO will give you accolades for this, and probably expect another plaque up on one of those walls up there. So well done, guys. Well done.
Councilman Hendricks?
I'll just echo what's been said. It's amazing. I'm flipping through it now. I love how it's dynamic and it's pushing an envelope, and good job.
Councilman Dyak?
Todd, don't just flip through it. Read all 400 and some odd pages. We don't want you to flip through it.
The pictures are pretty.
Pictures are good, but the numbers speak.
Oh.
So no, being here for a number of years, I think the evolution of the budget book has truly evolved. For me, I like digging down into those 10-year plans and 10-year projections. I think those are critical as we get closer and closer to full build out. We're going to have some significant challenges, and we keep on adding things. The 10-year plan, which we'll be talking about here in a couple of weeks, if not a month or so, is a very important add because it gives us the path to see if we can truly do what we are telling our citizens we can do based on the level of service they expect. So, to me, I'm interested in hearing that discussion yet again and in future years. And again, kudos to everybody. Thank you.
Great. Councilmember Barrington?
So budgets can be something that's a little dry. And so, unless you're Councilmember Dyak.
That's right.
So I would just really like to compliment you on what you've done here. And Jennifer, your presentation at the big picture was very entertaining. And I don't think I would normally say that after a budget presentation.
Thank you.
So Kim, great job. Mary Lou, everybody, you did a really wonderful job. And I think it's something that I hope everybody will go and dig into it and not just flip through it. Great job. Thank you.
Councilmember Hefta?
Yes, and thank you for that explanation on the balanced budget. So many people throughout society, as we had learned earlier, they don't pay attention to local government or county government. And so they're under the understanding that we do not maintain a balanced budget. But in fact, the state legislature determines the state budget. And unlike the federal government, we have to maintain a balanced budget every year in the state of Colorado. So thank you for clarifying that. Many times people confuse state government with federal government. And so the more we can make that clear, the better. Also, the book. This book that you just provided greatly contributes to transparency in government operations. Anyone in the town of Parker can easily open this book, watch the videos, understand the budget projections, understand the capital needs, understand the supplemental appropriations and the carryovers, and get a good understanding of how the town operates. So you've made this very user-friendly and very transparent for the citizens of Parker, Colorado. So thank you, Mary Lou, to your whole team, and welcome our new procurement officer as well. Thank you for a wonderful job in the budget. Thank you.
With that, I will entertain a motion on the ordinance.
I move to approve ordinance number 1.553.1 on second reading.
Second.
Dyak. Motion is made by Councilmember Pogue, seconded by Councilmember Dyak. Rivera.
Aye.
Pogue.
Aye.
Hendricks.
Yes.
Dyak.
Yes.
Hefta.
Yes.
I'm sorry, Barrington and then Hefta, sorry.
Yes.
All right, and that passes 6-0. With no other business before the Parker Town Council, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Can I make one more comment? I'm sorry. We forgot to give kudos to HR for their dodgeball display
Yeah.
at the big picture meeting.
Can we recreate that in a future council special presentation, maybe?
Oh, I thought you were saying you wanted it recreated with us with
Yeah.
the balls, directed at you guys?
Sure, that's great. We'd love
Yes.
Sorry to interrupt.
That's okay. Who's got the motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Josh.
that. Second.
Dyak. Motion is made by Councilman Rivera, seconded by Councilman Dyak. Rivera.
Aye.
Pogue.
Aye.
Hendricks.
Yes.
Dyak.
Yes.
Barrington.
Yes.
Hefta.
Yes.
And that passes 6-0, and we're adjourned at 7:40.